All right, it's preparing now.
Have to look twice, make sure.
He's probably thinking seven.
What's that?
Yeah.
They're getting used to a new time.
Oh.
I don't think you've ever
That
done
could
6
be,
o'clock.
he might show up at six
I
thirty.
don't think you've ever done 6 o'clock. for the-
No, we're gonna plan on that from now
Oh,
on.
but you might
Yeah.
still be thinking 7 though.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah, it was seven
Yeah,
to six thirty.
yeah,
Focus on time, I'm back. Did we start on time?
yeah, I thought.
He texted you last time, right?
Yeah.
Time for payback.
Hopefully, don't.
All right, is this live? Pretty sure this is live. Why is it? All right, it is live streaming. I know. Should we start? Call to order?
Finish
Oh,
the text,
oh.
I guess.
Okay, we'll start out with pledge allegiance. We're called that. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have to think back to elementary school.
Associate members. And number 4, adoption of minutes, May 13th.
I have it on the last page of the pamphlets.
Any, Walter moves, second minutes, any discussion? Anybody find anything wrong?
I don't think so.
If not, we need to vote, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, number 5, no public hearings.
Nope.
Number 6, old business. Site plan review application Pittsfield Solar. And that's basically on hold at the moment.
Correct.
So we'll pass through that. Then, just a question, why is it on hold because? Because last week the town council put a moratorium on. So any new solar projects. This wasn't put in before? It wasn't.
Approved.
Completed no proposal.
So as of right now, it's on hold.
Yeah. Well, I knew there was a public hearing on that, but is there any way we can get a notice as part of the board? I'd like to be part of it.
Yeah, I know Jacob had put the public hearing in the paper and everything for that in the Rolling Thunder.
That's how
but-
I see it.
Oh, okay, but yeah, no, we could work on getting that out for you guys.
I'd like that, just so I don't miss something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll make sure in the future we address that.
Did you go? Yeah. I would have.
Yeah. Definitely will make sure that that gets out to you guys next time.
Number 7, new business, amendment to the Pittsfield Town Code, chapter 13 zoning ordinance.
Oh, so I had just noticed that one of them should be in color. When they were printed, it wasn't, so it's actually added already onto the P table right now. It's just not when they were photocopied, clearly didn't add them in color. And then the definition, it's highlighted in the bottom area as well,
The
well,
one you sent,
underlined.
the one you sent is colored, is that correct?
Correct. Mine isn't in color, so I'm guessing that was the original that you have.
So this one, the one in color is correct.
Yes,
Yeah, I got
That'll
one.
be what we are looking to adopt.
yes, correct.
Yeah, no, it looks like that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, you got it.
Okay. I made
We
copies
print them all,
today.
print off for them?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, we do any discussion, you know, would you recommend this to the council or?
This is up to you guys and correct, and then council, then there'll be the public hearing and everything. And then council will vote on it as well.
So if we have we vote affirmative for move this forward, we have to have a public hearing.
Correct, and then the
And-
council,
Then the council will have to have a public hearing also.
correct.
Will they have to have it as on a meeting agenda first, or they can go right to it,
I believe it has to be on the meeting agenda first, I believe,
then post it, right?
correct.
But we're voting to move it to the public hearing on July eighth.
Correct,
That's what we're voting on right now.
yes.
Okay, so
So that is on the agenda now.
Yes.
basically, we can have a discussion on it, but really the only thing we're voting on is set at the hearing.
Correct, correct. And then after that, then it will, like you said, go to council, and then after that, then like the gentleman with the gym and things like that can start to apply. And then they can come back in and you guys would have the
But
say.
at the public hearing, we'll have a public hearing, and then after the public hearing is open or closed, then we can vote on recommend or not.
If we accept
If
it,
we
yeah.
accept it, and then it goes, so,
So it goes to the town council, they have a public hearing and then they.
Yes. Cause
Yeah.
this would have been the process for everybody.
every individual one.
Yeah. So,
So at this point, if we go along with this, we can look at each one that comes before us, almost on its own entirety, so to speak, and make a decision, each one by themselves, but we would have the final decision.
correct.
Or I guess, we would have a decision to make. If we say no, then they can go through channels, whatever, that goes to that point.
Yes.
So the way I look at it, this is giving us the option to review them one by one as they come in.
Right.
And, instead of closing them out and saying they have to do a special permit or something
Yes.
every time.
And
Yep.
this, the other way would have been to change zoning, but even just changing zoning, we would still have to add more language to it to be able to do what we're doing, so to speak.
Yes, and this will open the door, like you said, you guys still have the final word for all the businesses and, it, like, for example, the gym to the tax place, the flower shop, this one term that they came up with, that we came up with here. What was it? Commercial low intensity.
Yep.
Covers everything.
It does seem to, streamline things. I just have one question. If a person closes their business, moves away or dies, does that business, exemption, does that revert back to its old use? I say if someone opens up an accounting business and then they die, does it now revert back to what it was previous?
I would say so, unless if somebody wanted to change that business of some sort, then it would have to come back in front of the planning board.
Right. I would think if it
It
was,
stayed the same, if everything stayed the same, so to speak, except, and it changed the hands of the person,
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't be much of an issue.
right,
But-
somebody takes over the business, then it's fine, but if they change the business,
Right.
then we would have to approve the new business.
Right.
Yep.
I would think, I guess I would look at it that way, is if the business model was changing, then we would be looking at it again. I can't think of an exact example, but,
Yep.
I imagine we'll find out sooner or later.
Correct.
So,
Anybody watching?
No, Jacob just messaged me that saying the camera's not on. It's recording. Just says welcome to Pitts, it says town of Pittsfield. Town of Pittsfield.
not even right.
All right.
Do we have any more discussion on this, or do I have a motion for setting it the hearing? Yeah, well, that's it. You're hearing, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next one is discussion items. So, I guess one of the things, did everybody else get an email from Catherine?
No,
I don't know. I didn't see it.
What was that about?
The,
Oh, the project, I did just see that.
the state,
Yes, she wants to move forward with that. And I didn't make it into it didn't make it into this. I'm still new. I didn't know anything about that project where you guys
is this
left
the Main
off.
Street project or?
no, this is states changing for, what do they want to call it, low intensity, low density housing or higher density housing. Basically, the state is changing the rules for, the way housing density can be, basically making it so you can put more houses, in smaller lots.
Yep.
And if I read it correctly, so the state passed this in 22, supposed to be in effect last December,
Okay,
or first of the year, I think.
Yep.
They extended it to the end of this June, so end of this month.
mhm,
If I read it correctly, if we wanted to make any changes for our town different than what the state has, we had to the end of the month to make the changes.
Okay.
Other than that, basically, the
state,
state mandates,
Yep.
the state mandate is what we have to follow.
Yep.
It's a little confusing, reading, I read through it back and forth a few days ago, and I just kind of wasn't in the right mood. I read it today and I still wasn't in the right mood, but I read more.
Yeah, I'm still trying to familiarize myself with the whole thing.
And I don't remember the exact numbers, but like, before, if you build a house, you had to have, and don't quote me on the numbers, but let's say 15,000 square feet of ground area. And if you built two, then you had to have, I don't remember, 25 or 30.
Yep.
Now, basically, you might start out at a lower number and you can build another one with not doubling, size. Basically, it's making it so you can have more people, or so to speak, in the same.
relaxing some of the
Right.
standards.
Yeah, trying to help with the housing market.
And I don't know I know in the past, we've talked a little bit about, the mini houses,
Yep.
small houses.
Tiny homes, yep.
And I don't think this is directly towards that, but it's probably another step towards that. I know we've talked about it in the past and really haven't put forward anything specific, but a number of towns have, a lot of towns have.
And I have been getting questions about that in town.
Right.
People are
Want
interested.
to build some tiny homes?
Yes.
In the past, basically, there's been some concern from other property owners that, if somebody put a tiny home right next to, their higher end house, is it gonna affect values and things of that sort? There's always that question of things going on. And it is somewhat a valid point.
Are they trying to change the standards because of the size of the home?
Well, this thing the state passed isn't directly with this tiny homes, but the tiny homes is something we've looked at in the past, basically, in Pittsfield right now. The building code specifies a certain square footage and other restrictions, basically, right now, the laws, what we have in the books restricts these homes from Pittsfield because of the size and a few other things that, we probably need to look at a little bit more down the road, because it just makes sense for the future to be able to build some smaller homes,
Yeah,
energy efficient wise and things of that sort.
yep. And then septics, things like that have been coming up, they're like, oh, yeah. Like one party was saying, they believe that they are rated for a 4-bedroom septic. And they wanna put multiple tiny houses. So I'm like, well, you're gonna have to redo the septic. Or add another one to make it work for what you guys are trying to do,
Right.
That
if
was
they're not-
my concern. is
Yeah,
that, you're still gonna be using the same you know, demands on the town, water, sewer.
Well, yeah, if you're using town, if you're on private, your own private stuff, you know, we have your own leach fields and things of that sort. You know, that needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
Because just because you built for a 4-bedroom home and then you have, say, 4 single-bedroom houses, that's not the same.
Exactly.
Because your water usage for, you know, potentially more washing, you know, more stuff for the kitchen, you know, things of that sort. You know, there is a difference there. And then the other thing is, you know, trying to retrofit 3 houses into a, you know, an existing septic system, you know, who's paying, whose
Yeah.
property is it on, things of that sort, you know, you get into a lot of questions there. I've seen other people that have owned a house and they shared wells and other things, and it never ends up well. Never ends up good, put it that way.
Yeah, this sounds like something really needs some in-depth
Right.
thought.
Yes, I've also reached out to the attorneys to ask for their advice on this as well. I know Bangor, I was actually gonna talk with them and see, I hear they have a tiny house community up there. And see what their guidelines are and how they're managing it as well through their code enforcement. You know, because it's a new trend that's growing and people are,
It's
they have a lot
understandable.
of questions. Yeah, they have a lot of questions that we don't have the answers to
Yeah.
as of yet, so.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to them, but just, you know, the things need to be figured out, worked out a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, but, you know, in theory, you know, there probably still needs to be, you know, and that's, I think where the state law is coming in, this might fit into place where, you know, your restrictions on square footage for buildings and stuff, they're gonna allow more in closer buildings, so that might be a step forward toward these smaller homes.
So just, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but in our zoning, is there zones where we don't allow mobile homes or things like that, or are they allowed everywhere?
I think there's, I think there's one zone, 1 or 2 zones that not allowed.
Like R1,
Cause I'm just thinking that the tiny homes are basically a mobile home,
Right.
yeah,
but a little bit smaller.
Well, that's the other thing, some of these tiny homes are actually put onto either a slab or frost wall setup. And other ones, they're basically, they rolled in on wheels and they stay right on wheels, which is a whole different
Yep.
category as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that's, you know, if it's on wheels and in theory can be moved, it,
Yeah, they come and go whenever they feel like.
you know, that's more of a,
It's a mobile home.
more of a, you know, mobile home or camper or something like that.
Take it to Florida for the winter.
But, you know, if it's, you know, essentially a permanent structure, just a smaller escape. You know, I'm not saying it can't come in on a trailer or wheels and then placed on something more permanent.
yeah. And if you look in some of the districts, their building sizes, minimum 1,200 square feet, 750 square feet. And somebody was telling me the other day about what they're trying to build, and they go, a tiny home is 500 square feet or smaller. That's their opinion of it.
Yeah.
So that's another
That was my next
obstacle.
question.
Yeah,
Okay. I think I heard like 10 by 10, which is only,
100 square feet.
yeah, that's 100 square feet.
Yeah,
That's really tiny.
yeah, yeah,
And another thought is, it might this is just, you know, a thought. It could open up a possibility for somebody retrofitting an existing building on their property. Like, okay, so I got you know, a workshop, it's pretty bad shops. If I die, my son might, you know, would inherit the property, and they might say, well, I don't need the workshop, but maybe I can make it into a little rental property.
yeah,
You know, that's another can of worms.
Or even sell off a
Yeah.
parcel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
depending on the
so,
lot size and
right,
everything else, you know.
Trying to think of all the possible.
Yeah, I would, you know, and that's the thing we probably need to look at a little bit is if a building like that was gonna be retrofitted, you know, are we gonna mandate that it has its own water supply and septic, you know? Because if the property splits owners, you know, it's just gonna be, somebody's gonna be not happy later,
Yeah,
you know, at some point.
yeah,
You know, that's, I know it's an extra cost and everything, but, you know,
And then the other question I had gotten about them was, what if they have one community? One with the kitchen and bathrooms, but the other ones don't have plumbing, just
Oh,
more of bedrooms.
Communal services.
Yes, yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions. that-
Shower house and.
Yeah, you know, so
Kitchen house.
they think that could possibly up the amount they could put on a property if there's just the main community house with the kitchenette area and bathrooms. So,
Personally, that would be for me.
yeah, so,
Not in the winter time, as sure as hell.
Well,
won't be
that's,
burnt out.
and that's the other thing we have to look at around here is, there's a lot of things that can be done, from the Carolina south, so to speak, to the
Yeah.
west, that don't really work here.
yeah,
The weather does make a big difference.
Like you said, find out what Bangor's doing, some other towns.
yeah. See how they're addressing it and
Yeah.
try to apply some of the things and come up with ideas and,
But you said there's a deadline at the end of the June.
No, that's just for the state thing, nothing to do with a small house or anything. So the housing density and stuff is essentially, more than likely is gonna go in place because we haven't acted on anything. Basically, it came before us a little bit, Catherine pushed a little bit, or talked about stuff last year, and then basically, the ball was dropped without representation through town, so to speak, and
Mhm.
so I guess it's one of those things that we might have made a few small changes. I can't put my finger on one, but I think,
It's likely the state was probably pretty good.
yeah, as good as they all normally are. I don't think that- yeah. Cause it's probably no different than their Lubec building code laws, they're okay on a lot of things. And I understand, well, I better not say anything on this, but. Wait, stuff. Yeah, well, that's all I thought. But, any other discussion? Anybody have anything else interesting? Anybody from the audience? No?
So basically, we don't have any options on this state. At this time, because we're moved too late.
Essentially, and I don't know what we would have done differently.
Neither, but we don't know much.
Right, so I mean, if we wanted to do something, we'd have to have a special meeting, or we'd have to do it tonight. And
Right.
get it in before the end of the month.
and I can look into it some more. Like I said, I don't know what you guys had already spoke about last year on the project or what would have changed, but
It ran through with just highlights of what was gonna happen, and this and that, but I don't remember. I think it was at least a year ago or more that there was this last time. it was
Okay.
discussed.
Yeah, it's been a while,
Right.
part of the discussion.
okay, so,
It
Well-
was brought up a little bit, probably 6 or 8 months before that, once the state passed the law, I think it was discussed a little bit, like 2.5, 3 years ago, or
Yeah.
2 years ago. But, just overview, because we didn't have anything on paper, and then last year we got more, and then it kind of just, we didn't have
Okay.
didn't have any meetings for quite a few months there,
okay,
and kind of just, at that point,
just
before the
fizzled
meeting
out,
came on, it just kind of fell by the wayside.
okay,
I guess will probably be, because I know one of the things to get allowed a little bit longer time, so there's a lot of towns that don't, only have 1 or 2 meetings a year, annual meetings, so they needed to put it out there so that can come before them.
And we get an extension for.
I don't think so. I think the way it talked, the extension they gave was all you're gonna get.
and I'll talk with Catherine more about it as well tomorrow. And, just see what her,
It's pretty much, we don't even about this.
Right,
yeah,
It'd be good to have a little more.
right.
yeah,
But, you can check with Catherine, but, the way I understood it was, end of June was it, but.
okay. But yeah, like I said, I'll see what I can find out tomorrow and try to go from there and,
Talk with Jake a little bit, and if there was anything pressing, you could contact us a little bit. We need to, we could have another emergency meeting or something. If
Yep.
there was something drastic, but,
yeah, I'll get on that though tomorrow and see what the you know, the state's gonna put into effect what they want to put into effect either way, but we'll see what we can
Just like,
come up with and
just like the Lubec building codes, you know, from my understanding was when the state passed that, the only way they got it passed through the legislature was to exempt towns under
4,000.
4,000. Because all, you know, a lot of towns didn't want to do it, but, you know, so if you're under 4,000, you don't have to follow it, but if you, once you jump in and accept it, you can't back out of it again.
Mhm.
And it's just a matter of time. They're changing little things a little bit all the time, so basically they're gonna have everybody sooner or later, just,
On board with it.
you know, but that's how they do things. Augusta to get things through is, you know, they say, oh, don't worry, we're not gonna worry about you, you know, so. Any other discussions?
So what's the action that we have, anything?
Basically, just the only thing we've done is
Voted.
set to public hearing for that, our next meeting. That number 7,
Yep, but the density,
basically,
Let it ride.
unless they decide they need, we should look at something,
okay,
we're gonna let it ride, I guess.
good with that?
And Joel Greenwood also looked it over as well.
Excuse me?
Joel Greenwood,
Right.
he's also on board and he's actually helped come up with the term. And finding it and researching it to protect the town as well, and he thought this would be the best option as well.
Brett. I bet. No problem,
It
we're
was an
almost
option
all
to
done
get-
with it. Anyways,
So there's an option to get any more time
Yeah.
on this.
yeah.
I think we should take it and take a look at this. And
Yeah,
bring
no
some of
problem.
us up to.
You got me last one, I get to this one.
With the,
If we can go by still, we can
The
get
state
an
density.
extension.
oh, yeah, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, and I know that this. It's just, it's opening the door for any business to be able to come in front of you guys.
I'm talking about the.
No, the
Yeah,
state,
yeah.
Oh, the,
Confused between the two.
yes,
issues.
yes, yeah, the state, yeah, no, absolutely, and
Option there to grab it in time, it doesn't hurt us to grab it in time.
What's that?
yeah,
if we can, if we can opt to, you know, get her an extension, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Fine. Can't hurt.
Right.
exactly. So, yeah, I'll talk with Catherine more about that tomorrow and get more familiarized with what has happened in the past with this and what are some of the big changes.
So that's something that just came in here.
Well, Catherine said something to me last week when I was waiting to come in here from the town council meeting. And but she asked me if we addressed anything since last year. I said, no, because it was never put on our agenda or anything else since then. And, you know, to be honest with you, I forgot all about it.
We really didn't do a whole lot of discussion. She handed out some
Right.
packets and said, read this.
And, you know, it was. You know, it was a little confusing, you know, and like I read back through today, you know, it. You know, how the state wants, you know, a lot of times in their language. They don't, you know, they don't just make it clear, you know, they gotta kind of go back and forth 3 or 4 times.
So that's something you have copies of?
No, nope, those packets were before me.
I would say it's probably online.
Yeah,
I've got the email that Catherine sent me, but actually what you could do is ask Catherine to. Take the email she sent me and send it to everybody else on the board,
okay,
just so they could look at it. But
Yeah.
That way you can decide, you know, look through it, try to read through it.
Yeah.
You know, I came to my email. You know, Thursday or Friday, I
okay,
don't remember exactly,
yeah,
and I just assumed she sent it to everybody,
okay, okay,
so I guess.
but,
I probably, you know, and I probably could have looked at the top of the email and see if it was, but.
yeah, well, I'll make sure we get that out to you guys.
Well, if there's nothing else, I'll ask for the German.
Motion to adjourn.
Did I